Sporting Journal Radio, presented by Onyx.
And once again, it's time to head up to Lake of the Woods to check in with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, how are things?
Hey, Brad, doing well. How are you?
Not bad. Summer's almost over, Joe.
I tell you, don't even say that. But you know what? Fall sports have started at the schools, back to school lists. I mean, and even the you're starting to see flocks of ducks and geese. Evenings are getting chillier, and I can tell you that some of the guides that have fished the Rainy River are starting to talk about more walleye action already.
I'm so excited for fall, and I think it's game fair. Once game fair kicks off, I start to get excited about the hunting season again finally, and I am so excited about fall. But after last year, actually spending some time on the water and catching some fish, I'm actually really looking forward to doing some fall fishing this year too, Joe.
Yeah, you know what? Fall fishing is so great. And obviously, it competes. You know, if you're an outdoors person that also hunts as well as fishes, it's hard because you only have limited time. And the hunting, for the most part, other than turkey hunting, I guess, and some other things, you pretty much do them in the fall too, right? So it's hard. It's so hard. But I got to tell you that, fall fishing up at Lake of the Woods, it's really, really good. It's really good on the lake. And it's also really good for anglers that fish that traditional fall run on the Rainy River.
I can't wait. And I want to do a cast and blast up there this fall, Joe. I want to do it up the angle though.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because, Lake of the Woods is one of the few lakes in the state that you can actually do layout boat hunting on the lake, where you're sitting, you're almost basically laying back flat in these small flat layout boats they're real sturdy, they're real solid, but you're almost like parallel with the water out in a big part of the lake. You're not hiding in the weeds or anything, and you put decoys all around you, and those diver ducks come swooping through those rafts of decoys, and it's one heck of a shoot. So that's just one nuance to the duck hunting up at Lake of the Woods, and of course we get a whole bunch of divers coming down. So up at the angle, hunting those islands and hunting off of a point of an island, it's really kind of a unique shoot. Think about it. How many times do you duck hunt where you're hiding behind rocks or boulders?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unique. I've never done the layout boat thing. I've talked about it. There's a couple of places are on my list that I'd like to try it, and the angle is right up there at the top. And then maybe we'd have to go fish the river afterwards or before. Maybe we'll go an extra day and do a little river fishing while we're up there, Joe.
I'll tell you what, though, some of the hunters that go up to the Northwest Angle do is, of course, they'll hunt in the morning right away. And they come in, have a good breakfast, maybe they take a snooze, and then they go fishing in the afternoon, and they always get their walleyes. And, of course, if they want to go for pike and muskies and stuff, they can too. But it's certainly a cast and blast opportunity. And then, of course, that's at the north end of the lake. You talk about the big basin. Our charter boats are running all over the basin, whacking walleyes, and the walleyes are putting on the feed bag because the winter's coming and eventually spawning's coming, and just traditionally they bite well in the fall in that cold water. And then, of course, then you got the Rainy River. And I think one of the really neat things about the Rainy River is that if somebody wants to bring their own boat up and all they have is a 14 or 16 foot boat, no problem on the Rainy River because it's relatively small water.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying guys are already starting to catch nice walleyes in the river?
Yeah, there's already some guides that have been fishing the river talking about how they're actually catching some decent walleyes. And I'm not sure if those are resident walleyes. We've had a lot of flow in the Rainy River this year, and there's been more bait in the river than normal for the summer. So there's walleyes in there now. And I don't know if some of those walleyes are entering from the lake yet or not. I can't say that, but I can tell you that every year, early September, you always get a few people that just start fishing the river and doing really well on walleyes, and people are like, holy smokes, that walleye run is already starting, or hey, I've seen shiners already coming up the river. Mm-hmm. And that always happens in early September. And I mean, my goodness, it's already mid-August. We're almost there. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of that is just starting right now,
Well, that shiner run, of course, everybody talks about that. So you're thinking with the higher water that there could be some shines, that maybe the run might be a little bit different this year, you think?
Well, I think traditionally, I'll preface my statement by saying Mother Nature, people talk like they know what's going on with Mother Nature. And I'll be the first one to admit I don't know. But it just seems like when there's a lot of water pushing out of that river, that fall walleye fishing ends up being pretty darn good. I know that with a lot of water going into that lake, I know the walleyes can sense that different smell of the river. But, that also encourages a lot of those shiners to run up. And again, there's already bait in the river. So I know that, there's going to be some walleyes close behind. It's shaping up to be good. Time will tell, though. Mother Nature always dictates, right?
Oh, yeah. That's such a cool sight when you see those the shiners on the end of the dock there under the lights spinning around in circles.
Brett, I'll tell you, I went down to film. Just one evening, I was up at a resort, and I just went down to film the shiners like you showed there, circling, and they circle clockwise and just gallons. They just circle. And then every once in a while, they fly out of the water because a walleye chases them underneath. But I went down to the end of the dock, and across the river over in Canada, straight across was a big flock of Canadian geese staged on their migration. And they were honking away. And across the river over to my left, there was a pack of wolves howling in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Over my right shoulder, there's domestic dogs that were barking at the wolves. And then, I can hear ducks go over my head, diver ducks. They're flying right over my head. And then, of course, you got the shiners running. I mean, what a cool scenario with so many things going on in the fall that you can see why people really enjoy it.
Yeah, you can see why people would want to just live there, Just move there and be there year round.
If you like the outdoors, and having that right outside your back door is not a bad gig.
Well, let's talk about a couple of minutes left here. Let's just talk about how people are catching fish. If you were going up there right now, Joe, what would you be doing?
It's interesting. Normally, this is the dog days of August, and the two techniques would be pulling spinners and trolling crankbaits with lead core or however you get your cranks down in that deeper water out in the main basin. Now, there are some fish out in that main basin, but there's a lot of walleyes this year that are still relating to shoreline structure. And the other thing I'll tell you is that in addition to pulling spinners and pulling cranks, which is working, jigging is still working really well. And there's still a lot of people catching walleyes jigging, which normally this time of year that dies off. But that technique is still going strong. So it's kind of a unique year. We mentioned water levels are coming down, so docks are starting to pop out of the water again. That's good news. And, we've been pretty much debris free for the most part in our basin. All that junk from the high water has flushed through over a month ago. So, we're in good shape that way. So, yeah, it's just kind of a unique year. Every year is a unique year in some way, shape, or form, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to take what Mother Nature gives you, and it seems like there's always some little challenges or some little differences each year. But if you're going to a place like Lake of the Woods, there's going to be fish there. You just got to figure out how to get them to bite, and they're usually fairly cooperative when you go up there.
Well, the other thing I'll say is that right out in front of Pine Island, out in front of both gaps, so the Lighthouse Gap where the Rainy River runs in, and also the Morris Point Gap where the Boston Creek runs in, there has been some pretty darn good fishing in 15 to 20 feet of water for eaters. 15 to 17 inches for the most part, but there's been some pretty darn nice eaters hanging out around there all year long. And so it's been really, really good fishing.
Well, if people want to plan a trip this fall to Lake of the Woods or try to get up there before summer ends or start thinking about ice fishing, what should they do, Joe?
You know what? Best place, check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts. Northern Minnesota's Walleye Factory is a year-round world-class fishing destination. The perfect getaway this summer is just a short drive to Lake of the Woods. Fish Big Traverse Bay, the Rainy River, or visit the unique Northwest Angle. To catch big fish, you have to go where the big fish are. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com.